Welcome to How They Do That. I'm your host, Scott Waldron, and here is a little preview of what you're going to hear today.
And the people that I coached said, unbeknownst to me, Andrew's helping me with that exact same type of situation, or I had a problem that I really needed help thinking through, and Andrew's been instrumental in the way that I have evolved my leadership, and now I fill in the blank. But it's like, I'm an energy DJ, man. I'm like doing my DJ thing as I'm coaching and consulting with folks. That's me listening to my earphones, by the way.
Here we are in another episode of How They Do That. And today I'm going to talk to Andrew Freedman. And Andrew is one of those people that has continuously invested in me. Honestly, like I've known him for a while now. He was on my show Unlocked with Scott Waldron. He was on that actually twice, imparting some wisdom and some guidance and talking about his book Thrive on there. And when I was launching my book, when I was doing my podcast, when I've been going through my business, Andrew's always been there. He's that kind of guy where I sit there and I say, why me? Like, why is he investing in me? And it can't just be me. It has to be other people too. He does this for other people, right? Well, I think he does. I don't know if he does, but I feel super special. He helps me feel super special. And I think that's part of what makes him so good at what he does. I think he does that for everybody, including his clients. And today we're going to talk about how asking the right questions and investing in people, bringing the value can help you build your coaching business. And he's done that. He has worked with GE, AstraZeneca, Fox Sports, Crocs, New Balance, John Hancock, and helped them support their teams and their goals, train their leaders. He's built his company Shift. They've grown over 150% and increased revenues and continued to build their clientele and hold on to their clients through the things we're going to talk about on the show. So I'm anxious for you to hear from Andrew. He's really good. You're going to love this interview. Here we go. Andrew, it is, man, I feel like you get a punch card for being on all of my shows the most. Like you get a free show.
I love it.
Here you go.
I love it, man. I'll take as unlimited punch cards with you. I will get as much time with you as we can, my brother.
Oh man, that's so cool. Yeah. Twice on my show Unlocked. Now you get to be on here. And you've always provided such guidance and wisdom. I see you as kind of a mentor and somebody that is always for me. I mean, just the encouragement you've given me, I really appreciate it. And I appreciate you being here to impart some wisdom on all of the people out there listening.
I'll do my best. I won't let you or your listeners down.
Wow. Okay. I love that. Thank you for not letting us down. I appreciate it. That's awesome. Quick question for you. I want you to give us a quick 30-second synopsis of your business and how long it's been there. And kind of why we should even listen to you.
The quick goes like this. For me, I'm a force of change and transformation. In my firm Shift, we've been doing what we do with organizations and leaders for over 25 years, helping to transform the way that people think so they can shift the way that they live. Inside and outside work, this integrated whole, making people better, organizations thrive, and people be just totally jacked up, geeked up about what they do. So if your listeners are into that kind of boring stuff, then they should probably keep listening.
Yeah, I don't think we have. I don't think we work with people like that. So I don't think this is going to apply. No, I think that's what we all want, and to know that is what you do, and you've been doing it for so long. That's why you're here. That's why you're here. So I wanted to ask you, what was your superpower? What's the wisdom that you can impart on the audience as far as something that you do so well that we should all learn how to do? What do you think that thing is for you?
What people tell me is my ability to hear them, see them, create space for them so that they can arrive at answers and insights that power change in their lives. That is a superpower of mine. That's a gift. And I don't know that I would have articulated like that, but that's the way that people experience me when they work with me. And it really, back to unlock, it unlocks greatness in them that they didn't see, enlightenment that they didn't, they weren't aware of, and accomplishment that they, in some cases, didn't even dream was possible. And to me, that's pretty darn cool. I take a lot of pride in that's how people describe me to me and how they experience me.
Okay, I'm going to argue. I'm going to say, as coaches, consultants, I hope that's what we all do. But what's been your thoughts on that as you've watched other coaches, other consultants in that space, and really kind of what do you think is the differentiator in you versus some others that are still working on that skill that you feel like they need to learn to do?
This is going to be terrible. If my wife, Joanne, watches this, she's going to be like, you are such a dork. And that's true. But it's like, I'm an energy DJ, man. I'm like doing my DJ thing as I'm coaching and consulting with folks. That's me listening to my earphones, by the way. That's no.
I was wondering if your head hurt or if you were just.
And what I mean by that is,
okay.
I can see and feel what's not visible and what's not audible. I can hear somebody's energy. I can feel their energy. I can see what's going on with them, not just from a body language, a facial expression, but I can actually feel and intuit their energy. And for me, those kinds of insights, they show up like this. Sometimes I'll be in a conversation with somebody. It could be a big team meeting and it could be a one-on-one. And I will see or feel or sense something. And I will say, Skot, what's happening for you right now? Or what's going on with your face? I sometimes default a little bit to goofy. So I will say that in a non-threatening, really just kind of like de-stress take the stress out of the air in the environment if somebody's feeling tense or unsure or, a little timid. And that breaks the ice and it reduces anxiety and it creates a space for people to really open up very deeply. I was in a conversation with a client yesterday, and it was our first actual coaching call. And I mean, the speed with which she went super deep on stuff that had happened in her life that have contributed to some of the challenges and opportunities she has, it can happen transformatively quick. I think I do that better than most. Maybe not any, but I think I do that better than most. And that's an unlock for me in working with people.
I love that. So not all of us are going to have this innate superpower to like feel that energy, to sense it. What are some clues that we can use to kind of pick up on some of that stuff, right? If it's not that thing that we were born with, is it something we can learn? Is it something that we can, like, what are some things that you've done to be able to pick up on, hey, there's something going on here? And then to prompt that question of, hey, what's going on with your face?
What's going on right now?
What's going on with you?
I will tell
right
you
now?
that I love lots of authors, you included. One of my favorite authors is Patrick Lencioni. He wrote a book called Getting Naked, which was, he tells, writes a lot of his books in fables, and this was one that was a fable. And he had a model that he used, and one part of the model was this thing he called Enter the Danger. And Enter the Danger, for me is all about when you see and feel something, it's to just go there. It's to step into that space. And I see for a lot of people, folks have, for whatever reason, they've gotten away from trusting their gut and their intuition. People have it, right? It's like, oh, that spidey sense, or, you get little goosebumps on your arms or the hair on the back of your neck, or you just feel a certain way. A lot of people resist that. They ignore that. And I have learned over time to really trust, in myself, trust my gut, trust my intuition. And entering the danger is this: if I ask a question and it falls flat, if I pick up on something that turns out not to be true, I'm not afraid of that. That doesn't hurt the relationship. In fact, it actually, my experience is it strengthens the relationship. If I pick up on a cue or a clue and I ask you and you go, no, I'm good, or no, that's not a thing. Okay, what that shows you is I'm paying attention. I'm cluing into things, and I'm not always right. And it's not about me being right. That's not the point. The point is for us to have a productive enough relationship that's filled with healthy tension, healthy friction, me pushing you, me creating space for you to, push yourself. When we can do that, that's magic. So what I would encourage for people is, one, trust your intuition and your gut. If you're picking up on something, there is likely something there. And then ask the question. And don't be afraid of what the answer is. Those would be things I think your folks can listen to and they can take action on right away.
That's really good. I have found myself, and especially when I was starting coaching and doing what I was doing, that I was very, I don't know, I had kind of the imposter syndrome thing going on. I was a little insecure. I was like, what am I doing here coaching this executive? I've never run a Fortune 500 company, right? So I'm kind of going like, what right do I have to be in this space? And so what I did is I relied on the program. I relied on the script. I relied on the slide presentation to just guide me through it and the question prompts. And I was using that as a way to get me on and to get me onboarded and to kind of get used to the thing. And we got some good discussion out of it. The next level, I think, is what you're talking about. The next level is, how do I make it my own? How do I start to sense what's going on instead of just reading the script, and trusting myself instead of trusting the slides, knowing when to divert from whatever the prescription is and going with what's needed for them. And I think that's what I hear you saying, is trusting that gut, because I think sometimes we have fear that, what if I ask this and I'm not right? Are they going to think I'm incompetent, that I'm not a good coach? But you said it's not about being right. You know, I think that's really powerful.
That self-orientation, Scott, it is critical. I was going to say it's everything, but it's not the only thing. But that self-orientation, we've got to get out of ourselves and realize we are here. In this case, we're here to serve other people. And so we've got to really be thinking about, what do they need? In our role as coaches or consultants, or the blend of both, it's to ask the question that needs to be asked, not necessarily the comfortable one. It's to tell our clients what they need to hear, not what they want to hear. And I know those things to some might sound like so obvious or so cheeky, but the reality is there is a gap between what people know and often what they do. And in that gap lies magic. And it's having the courage to step into that, back to the enter the danger, not knowing exactly how this is going to play out, but knowing that it's the right thing for that person. It's going to help them get closer to what they need if they're open to it.
So you doing this has helped you increase revenue by over 150%. It's expanded your client relationships and everything that you've done to 5+ years. You've been able to grow a thriving company and a business that's worked with multiple companies and different sizes and capacities. Why has that, what you've done as far as listening to your gut, asking the right questions, or asking the questions that need to be asked, how has that helped you? What's been the result of that? Why is that translated into the additional revenue and the additional client relationships and the retainment
the why,
of those
it's
clients?
A good question. It's a fair question. I don't know that I have the answer. I can tell you what people tell me and what I've observed happen. What I've observed happen is it's this, it's a little bit of a flywheel, I think, is what I would call it. Maybe that's the right metaphor. Maybe it's not. When I'm working with clients, I'll think of one client that I'm working with now, really large company in the financial services space. And I started doing some high performance consulting there and helping them define new standards of excellence for their leaders. They had grown by acquisition, 34 or 35 different companies aggregated into one. That's a heck of a lot of change. And that's some need for some standardization of leadership excellence. Well, we defined those standards. And then, as you can imagine, there were a lot of leaders, hundreds of leaders across this organization who needed help closing that gap between where they were and these new standards. So I started working with a handful, 4 or 5 of the leaders. And what happened was, as these folks were talking to each other and they were coming up with common situations and common challenges, they would say, gosh, I'm having a tough time with this thing, or with this person who reports to me, or breaking down organizational silos or barriers. And the people that I coached said, unbeknownst to me, Andrew's helping me with that exact same type of situation, or I had a problem that I really needed help thinking through, and Andrew's been instrumental in the way that I have evolved my leadership. And now I fill in the blank, think this way, do these things, have conquered these. And so I start getting emails. I get emails from individual people saying, hey, you're working with Sally. I'm having some challenges. Can we talk? Or their bosses reach out and say, I've got 3 people on my team who I think could really use your help. I've seen what you've done for me. I've seen what you've done for a couple of their direct reports. Can you do this? So it happens inside large companies where it grows like that. And then it also, I know your business grows through referrals also, as does mine. I get referrals from outside companies saying, hey, I've got a friend who did some work with you or who saw you speak, or can we talk? That's how it grows. And it seems invisible and unintentional, but it isn't. It's not unintentional. It is very intentional around focusing on creating value in every touch with the trust and the belief that that is going to multiply. And that is the way that it unfolds. You got to trust the universe in that way, where if you are creating value at every touch, it comes back to you. You know this. I know you live this way.
Creating value at every touch. Yes, that is awesome. I love it. I love it. What is one thing you would tell every listener to do right now to implement this? What is the actionable step that they should take on their next call, on their next, whether it's a prospecting call or a coaching call or whatever, to help build that value? What's one thing they can do?
The first one goes like this. And I heard this from a person that I did work with who is, knows our company and has been a mentor to us. His name is Steve Lishansky. He's a fantastic human, great guy, unbelievably smart. We talked about 3 questions, and I heard this from him years ago, and I still use this today. 3 questions that everybody should ask, especially you talked about prospect scenario. Question number 1, what are the biggest challenges you're facing right now? Question number 2, what are the biggest opportunities you are looking to exploit? Question number 3, how well are you handling these things now? And what you're looking for in question 3 is the gap. Everybody's got challenges. Everybody has big opportunities they're looking to exploit or explore. And in most cases, people aren't doing those things as well as they would like. And therein lies the opportunity for us as coaches and consultants to really help. So that's the first thing, is that stack of 3 questions. Just start using those today. Next meeting, go do that. Before that, I'd say as coaches and consultants, and I know you've done this work also, Scott, is just get clearer. Get clearer on like who you are and what you value and what kinds of clients you want to work with. What kind of work brings you joy? The reality, or one of the realities, is there's so many people, individuals, leaders, organizations who need our help, but that doesn't make them all good clients for us. And we've all learned that the hard way. Some are still learning that because, when you're growing your business, you're like, I need revenue. I'm going to take this business. I'm going to get this thing. And it's not work that brings you joy. It's not work that fulfills you. And you probably don't feel like you're doing the best work of your life. I would get clearer on what's most important to you and what you value, so that you can become a magnet for that kind of, when you're clear in that way, you show up in that way, you will get more business like that. And you won't find yourself having to take business that you don't want, but that you feel you need. That's the bonus. That's the bonus tip I would give people.
That's awesome. I totally agree. How have you been able to figure
Some
that
of it
out?
is being, resolved and deliberate and diligent on what I said is most important to me. It took some time. It was a journey for sure. I've been doing what I do for over 25 years. And, early on it was kicking, scratching, and clawing and taking business just so that we would survive, forget about thrive, just so we'd make it. It's tough to make it, your first year, your first 3 years. So there is a bit of you got to get bootstrapping. And sometimes you might have to take some work that you don't really want. But then as you get clear, really clear on your intentions, dig deep into your soul, who you are, what you stand for, what brings you energy, what brings you joy, what are your greatest gifts? Go through the work, meditate, journal, go for walks in nature, think about this stuff. Once you're clear on that and you can stay more true than not to it, it starts to turn fairly quickly.
That's really good. And practice. You're not going to know what you like unless you do stuff that you don't like and that you do like. You just gotta find it and do it, and implement it. And sometimes that means, doing things that might be a little uncomfortable for you. But that's the place where you're going to find out.
That's right.
That's where
isn't that life? I didn't realize I didn't like coffee ice cream until I had coffee ice cream. And then once I did, I didn't.
You don't
Here's
like
the plot
coffee
twist.
Ice cream, Andrew?
I don't like coffee ice cream. And then for a while, I was like, okay, well, I mean, I don't drink coffee. I don't like coffee ice cream. And we were out, Joanne and I, a number of years ago, and we were having some dinner. And at the end, she said, I think I want to try an espresso martini. And I was like, that's like coffee. I mean, go for it. And she said, will you try it? I was like, I don't really like. She's like, would you just try it? And I tried it, and I love them. So right. So I don't like coffee ice cream. I don't like coffee, but in this one espresso martini every now and again, I'm down for it. You don't know until you try. You don't know until you get in it, right? I mean, so I love that from you, and I share just a little funny part of my soul with your listenership on that little quirk about me.
That's funny. I love it. I love it. So everybody, ship Andrew at Shift gallons of coffee ice cream for him and his team. So that's awesome. Yeah, I don't drink coffee either. I'm not a coffee drinker at all. But I lived in Switzerland for a little while, and they had this ice cream stand, and they had this coffee ice cream, and it was so good. I don't know why it was so good. It was amazing. And so I don't know. It was just, that's my thing. It's my only coffee ice cream I've ever liked is from this one ice cream stand.
I mean, what's not good in Switzerland? I don't know.
Maybe you need. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It has to be good. It's from Switzerland. Like, it had to be good. Had to be good. Brilliant. Thank you. What's one book or podcast or something that we should digest?
I am reading for the third time right now, 10X is Easier Than 2X by Dan Sullivan, which I would absolutely recommend to everybody. It's just a fantastic book. Worth reading 1, 2, 3 plus times. Do it. Dig into it.
I recently had somebody on my show that is reading the same exact book. The universe is telling me something, Andrew. And my wife is also telling me something. She says, Scott, Amazon just delivered another book for you. I don't know when you're going to read all these books. And I said, that's not the point. The point is I will get to it at some point, That's what'll happen. This has been awesome. Thank you so much, Andrew. I learn stuff every time I talk to you. I would love to just do a weekly show with you if, my own selfish desires, so that I could just pick your brain over and over and over again. So, oh man, I really appreciate it. If anybody wants to contact you, they want to ask you more questions, they have some insights or thoughts about the show.
Easiest place, I'm on LinkedIn a lot. I publish a lot there. I engage a lot on that platform. So it's A Freedman, Freedman, A Freedman Thrive. That's my handle on LinkedIn, and I will happily accept connections from any of your listeners, because if they dig you, I dig them.
Dude, one day I'm going to make it to Baltimore, and I'm going to give you a giant hug.
Bring it in, man. Bring it in.
I'm going to hug you. So bring it in. Okay, dude. Likewise. Thanks so much, Andrew. Appreciate it. Thank you for joining me today on How They Do That. If you found this helpful, please rate the show wherever you listen to podcasts. You see, I help you, you help me. That's how it works. Oh, and please do not keep this to yourself. Share the show with a fellow coach who could also use these insights. Keep exploring, my friends. Never stop asking how'd they do that? Because with every question, you get closer and closer to refining your business and scaling your impact.